Welcome to Disability Clinic, where Netflix and chill is a learning experience. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Van, and we're back with Cruz and AJ to finish watching Season 2 of Sex Education. If you haven't met Cruz or AJ yet, go watch or listen to our other videos about defying disability stereotypes. The character of Isaac, portrayed by actor George Robinson, is so much more than the token disabled person. As he gets closer to our girl Maeve, we learn they both have some childhood trauma due to their parents abusing drugs. Spoiler warning for Season 2 of Sex Education. Let's get into the breakdown.
I've got an NA meeting today, and it's a friends and family session. I was hoping you could come. I want you to see how well I'm doing. Plus, there's free biscuits. What kind?
Maeve and Isaac, they are bonding over having parents who weren't there for them because of drugs.
Where'd you learn to dance?
Well, we lived with this lady for a bit, ex-ballroom champion. She was horrible, but she had rhythm, so...
What do you mean for a bit?
Foster families never keep the disabled kid around too long.
It's traumatic to grow up without steady parental figures. He talked about being in foster homes and not feeling valued as the disabled kid. And obviously that would be hard for anyone. So I think he's being vulnerable.
Make a sad face and I will ram you. I keep seeing your mum coming in and out of NA. She looks like a character. Cynthia said that she pissed off a few years ago. Junkies are the worst.
She's been clean for 2 years.
Yeah, well, we've all heard that one before.
You don't know me. Or my mum, okay?
I think he was trying to bond through humor, but he ended up coming off again as an ass, you know?
As a butthole, yeah.
But this time I think it was unintentional.
Oh, I thought we were gonna bond. Orphan to orphan?
Well, you were wrong.
Hey, I didn't mean to cross the line, I'm sorry. Maybe your mum's different. I mean, nothing changes if nothing changes, right?
Did you just make that up?
No, that's a quote they use on their poster. I think it should say, once an addict, always an addict.
God, it's just like cringy to watch. Why is he so adamant at just being this like thorn?
That's a good question. I feel like he's putting up a front. He's been acting kind of tough and abrasive, maybe to hide some vulnerabilities he has.
Okay, yeah. Definitely. Kind of like how I said, where I would try to make it seem that I'm more independent. He is just overcompensating too much and being too much of a dick and not wanting any sympathy or empathy.
I think that's exactly it. I think you hit the nail on the head.
Nailed it.
You're a real dick, you know.
Even though he's kind of like the token disabled character, if you will, he's a wheelchair user. He's got a very obvious visible disability. I think the whole story arc with Maeve's mom being disabled by her addiction and her heroin issues, I think that's an equally important portrayal or representation of disability, because not only does it affect Erin and her ability to keep a job and be a parent, her children, her community is affected by it. And so I really like how the show parallels that journey with Isaac's story.
Drunk Otis is a monster. He's a monster.
Otis is super drunk at this party. And so he runs into Jackson, and Jackson's like, didn't you know Maeve had feelings for you? And that's why she broke up with me. So he's super like emotionally charged and drunk.
Maeve, Wiley, just likes playing with people's feelings. And she doesn't really care about anyone else. She brought this man with her. I don't know. Probably just here to make me jealous. Definitely didn't work. Definitely did. All in all, I think she's probably the most selfish person I've ever met.
Maeve clearly likes Otis and was vulnerable and told him about it. And then Otis kind of rejected her, and now he feels guilty and has lost his girlfriend, who was the reason he cut himself off of Maeve.
And I think it's good that I'm not going out with either of them, because I think I deserve a whole lot more.
And instead of being like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm actually have feelings for you too, he's doing the frontin' thing where he's trying to be all tough and like, oh, I don't need you. Like, you're selfish. Like, I don't care about
playing
you.
The game.
It's what people do when they feel vulnerable. They don't want to get hurt more than they already have been. They lash out. I feel like that's what the show is saying.
Yeah, especially with the alcohol use, obviously makes it worse.
Thank you for coming. Good night. Not good night. Stay. Enjoy yourselves.
You're an asshole.
Hey.
So pathetic.
Drink responsibly. We just want to get that out. Like,
This should be a PSA for why underage drinking is bad. So here's a nice kind of good night moment between Isaac and Maeve after the party.
What really happened? No wind or youths or Afghan dogs this time.
Right. I was 10. Joe and I were still living with our parents. They would send us out so they could get high. Anyway, on this particular day, I dared Joe to climb up this massive tree, and he chickened out halfway up. So, of course, I wanted to prove I was braver and get all the way up to the top, which I did. And then I fell. That's it. That's the story.
I felt like his delivery was it wasn't like harsh and aggressive. It wasn't bitter or like abrasive. And it also wasn't like, oh, pity me. I feel like he was very honest and matter of fact about it, which made me think, oh, he knows himself and like he's comfortable telling the story to someone he feels close to.
Do you blame your parents?
No. I sometimes blame him for not sticking with the parenting thing, though. Yeah, that bit kind of sucked.
I liked it because she didn't like harp on the injury or the accident itself. She didn't like exclaim like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, which, you know, obviously it is, that's kind of implied. And that's kind of what a lot of people do.
And I feel like a lot of people just in general might not know what to say or how to react.
There's not much to say and it's an awkward situation. So I guess just whatever you do say to be able to come across showing that you care. And I guess that's the best way to do it.
Okay, well, I've got one for you. Behold. I was 8. Mum didn't take me to school. She used to sleep a lot back then. And I tried to make myself beans on toast. My brother had to call an ambulance.
Must have been some hot beans.
The fact that I don't know if it's awareness or confidence that she felt comfortable trying to relate to him. Like, oh yeah, I had this shitty thing happen to me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was nice.
Have you ever seen the movie Bend It Like Beckham?
Not in like 15 years.
I know. It was one of my favorites when I was in like grade school, but I'm pretty sure the main character in that film, even though it's primarily about soccer, she has a big scar on her leg from a burn that she got when she was a kid trying to make beans on toast. This is yet another PSA, kids.
Don't make beans on toast. Everybody has their own things. It's all relative to what you've gone through and how you're living your own life. So I like that she wasn't afraid to bring that up and like talk war stories.
That Oasis guy wouldn't understand this shit. He wouldn't get it. It's not in his little world.
I've just got family problems too, you
It's
know.
different. You know that the people who were meant to make sure you survive just left you. It leaves a lot of scars. But those scars make you special. And you and I are properly special.
Trauma kind of breeds empathy and connection to a certain degree with certain people. So yeah, there's definitely a lot in their lives that Otis wouldn't get because he has, you know, a loving mother who he lives with, and he's, you know, his life is pretty easy for the most part. So he doesn't really understand certain struggles. Things like that definitely bring people closer together.
It's like, yeah, maybe he is right to a certain extent, but even Maeve kind of came to Otis's defense, like, hey, you know, he has problems too. Everyone's suffering is relevant, but it's also relative.
Yeah, well said. Did you just make that up, or is that a saying?
I just came up with it.
Crushed it.
I have to play that back. Everyone's suffering is relevant, but it's also relative.
Off to bed, you. Wake the neighbours up.
Thanks for tonight. It was fun.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hurry along now.
That's a good thing. One of these days, I'll feel good enough.
I think it's very sweet when he says you and I are proper special because, like, you know, they have these common scars and these common traumatic experiences. But it also made me think of special needs and like special education and how that can be, there can be negative connotations to that. I like that it's kind of taking a word that might have negative connotations or hasn't been used in the most positive way for people with disabilities. He's taking that and applying it to him and Maeve, not because she's disabled in the same way he is necessarily, but that they have a common experience because of trauma and like disabling things like drug use. Just like the word special education, like that's a very commonly used term. It's not really inherently negative. If anything, it's like positive. Like, okay, there's a particular set of services for people who need these accommodations. Like that's a good thing. But then there are people in the disabled community who really hate the word special needs because they feel like it's kind of demeaning or belittling or generalizing. But then I've heard it so much in healthcare, like, oh, this patient has special needs, when really like that doesn't mean anything specific. And so like it's a little dismissive of what that particular person's actual needs might be.
I don't think that my mind went there when he said special. I'm very easygoing. Not much is going to like offend me. There's not something that you would say that I would butt in and be like, please don't say that. But there are people with disabilities or certain ailments who prefer one thing over another. You know, I'm sure back in the day, there weren't enough accidents and people becoming disabled for it to be a thing. So when it came about, they labeled it something. And as time goes on, people start to form opinions about that and don't quite agree with that and think it should be done differently. But I think that's just part of the process. That's how things become things, you know?
It's like, well, you got to call it something at first and then make it better later.
Right. Because certain people are calling it special needs or whatever, that doesn't mean that they believe a certain thing. That's just what it's been called for however long. That's just what it is now. So now, if you don't agree with it, then I guess, you know, speak up. That's how changes happen. I don't know. That's why I don't take things, you know, personally.
I think that's a really healthy attitude. Thank you for coming on this tangent with me.
Yeah, no problem.
Maeve suspects her mom is using drugs again because she got fired from her job.
I think my mum was using again. Don't say I told you so.
I won't dream of it.
I need you to do me a favour.
Isaac and his brother do end up finding drugs and drug paraphernalia in Aaron's stuff.
Yeah, his brother goes in.
So Maeve has to call and report her mom to Child Protective Services because of her young sister, who's only 4 years old, might not be safe.
Hi, I need to report a child at risk. Yeah. Her parent is using drugs and she's unfit to care for her.
So it's really hard. It's a really hard time for Maeve. So she's dealing with a lot right now.
Yeah, it's my mother.
It takes some real courage to say the right thing and protect those most vulnerable, which is her little sister. And it also, she's protecting her mom. She's holding her mom accountable for, hey, this is a harmful thing. Like, you shouldn't be doing this to yourself and your family. I'm calling you out on it.
This is a child turning in their parent. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it because this is a scripted show, but there's lots of families all over the country and world that goes through this.
To see it represented on screen is very empowering for that experience because there's no negative stigma. Like, you trust Maeve, you know her, you like her, you're rooting for her as a character, and you believe in her decision. You want to support what she's doing.
For people that out there that have family members or loved ones who struggle with addiction or alcoholism, there is an organization called Al-Anon, and that is specifically for family members and loved ones and friends that have people in their lives that struggle with addiction.
There's an organization called SAMHSA that regulates treatment for substance abuse, including medication-assisted treatment, coordinating therapies. So there's a lot of good resources out there, and addiction is a very manageable condition if you can ask for help.
You did the right thing.
Still feel like a piece of shit.
Do you want to come in? I'll make you an omelette. Or you'll make it and I'll watch.
Yeah.
It just kind of shows that, like, Isaac can really understand what Maeve is going through. Like, he went through this probably very similar things with his own parents. And so out of all of the characters in the show, you know, Maeve has a lot of good supportive friends. You know that Isaac kind of has the closest relatable past to hers. So you want to see him as this very, like, supportive friend. You want to trust him.
You don't even have milk.
Do I look like someone who regularly pops to the shops?
Okay, I'll go get some stuff.
The good audio description sort of comes up with awesome ways to display and describe everything that's happening in the scene.
Audio description.
A red letter N unfolds into a spectrum.
Tell her to check her messages. Will do. Thanks.
Otis goes. Isaac rolls back into his trailer and finds Maeve's phone.
You have one new message.
Isaac hits play.
Hey, Maeve. I know you can't answer this right now, but I wanted you to know how proud of you I am and how unbelievably stupid I've been.
As Maeve walks, she looks up at the stars and smiles.
It's always been you. I love you, Maeve. Call me back. I hope it's not too late.
Message deleted.
Isaac deletes the message.
This is how it works.
Ooh, savage.
This is a very cold, calculated move on this part. This is not what a friend does at all.
It's a sticky situation. I'm sure he is feeling that, like, he has a great connection with her. He has the possibility of a relationship, and he feels like it's within his grasp, and this call could just bring it all shattering down. So I guess it just comes down to like the ethical, the moral decision that he decided to go with, and he went with the wrong one.
Wrong move, Isaac. Yeah, just a simple like, boop, delete. Up until that point, I mean, yes, he's been an asshole, but he seemed to genuinely bond with Maeve and form a trust with Maeve, and she's really let him into her most personal, painful parts of her life. And now he is contributing to, you know, her future pain. Like, this is obviously going to come out at some point. And he's hurting her. And it sucks that he's betraying her trust when he's supposed to be, not because he's disabled, but he's supposed to be this trusted friend because of all their history together.
Right. Yeah. They have a quote unquote special connection, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like they both, Otis and Maeve and Isaac and Maeve, could potentially both be good together, you know? So it's not like there's a super clear choice. Otis did the dumb thing at the party with that announcement, so that lowered him a level. So now she was more leaning towards Isaac. And then once she finds out Isaac did this, then it was like, shit, I made the wrong decision.
Oh, Maeve deserves so much better. Again, they're subverting expectation. He's this trusted friend. He and Maeve have gotten closer throughout this whole season, and you just don't expect this kind of betrayal. And not so he's not just breaking the stereotype of someone with a disability is like this perfect, innocent angel, but it's also like your closest, trusted friends can still betray you. Like, that's also what the show is saying.
Right. Yeah.
It's heavy.
Yeah. You just never know.
Thank you, Netflix, and thank you to the writers and the creators of Sex Education. We need more sex positivity in society because, after all, sex is how we got here.
I think it was great. They're trying to think of other shows or instances where I've seen somebody with a disability, especially, you know, so close to like my own disability, in the spotlight. And also just like everything that we've talked about as far as being able to break down certain stereotypes through his character. He's still just a regular person. He can be a dick, he can be sweet, he can be a criminal, he can give gifts, he can give support, he can give love, but he can also betray you and kind of throw your trust in the trash. He's just like everybody else. He just happens to be in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was super, super cool show. And I love that they kind of, I guess Hollywood in general is finally starting to incorporate people of all walks of life and race and color and creed and orientation and gender. So it's cool to see kind of the shift in spotlight.
You know, exponentially, I'm seeing more types of people represented. It's very exciting.
And the fact that they actually use, like, he actually does have a spinal cord injury. Like the few times that people have had, even if it is just cameo or they're just the token disabled person, it's usually an able-bodied person playing somebody with a disability, when that part could easily go to somebody who actually has that disability, lives it, could represent and show, you know, a little more of what it's actually like for somebody in that situation. So that was also cool to see.
Absolutely. If you want to reach out to Cruz and follow him on social media, his Instagram and his website is linked below. You can check out his art. Watch out for our season 3 breakdown coming soon, where things get even saucier.
Steamy.
Ooh, so steamy.
Ever wondered how somebody with a disability has sex? Well, you're going to want to tune into our season 3 breakdown.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
Why don't you slip a few comments into my comment box?
Ooh, ooh. Down chicken down wow.
Yeah, all right. Well, I had a lot of fun on this breakdown. Looking forward to season 3 and some other conversations as well. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Stay tuned.
Hit that like button and subscribe to This Ability Clinic for more accessible and entertaining educational content. What movie or TV show should we break down next? Leave a comment down below. And as always, thank you for watching, listening, and learning.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about sex education.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not gonna sing it. But let's break down. Maybe this could be in the blooper. I'm going over into something else. And
Yeah, dude, focus. We're breaking down a totally different show.